We currently have two dogs. They're about 62 pounds each. They're sisters from
Okay.
the same litter.
Yep. What kinds
They're
of dogs?
they're mixed. They are black
Mhm.
lab mixed with Rottweiler and Australian cattle dog. Our dogs, and for some reason, they never took to training very well.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had explained to me that it was possibly when we took them to puppy training, obedience training, is that them being from the same litter, we were told there's something called uh, litter mate syndrome, puppy litter, excuse me, litter mate syndrome. Is that when we got them, even though they were 8 weeks old, they've always been together all their lives. They're always dependent on each other. Where one goes, the other one follows. So
Mm-hmm.
when we took them to training class, they were constantly paying attention to each other and not to us. And it became very difficult to train them. Walking them has always been difficult. First of all, the first thing I tried was something called a gentle leader that goes in
Oh,
the
yes.
now. That one, oh my goodness, they didn't like it. So right now, the collar that she has on right now doesn't have any prongs. It is a type of show collar, but it still
Okay.
has the nylon strap, and then part of it is a chain. But
Got
no,
it.
that doesn't work.
Okay.
That
Doesn't.
honestly, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work at all. So we do have um, another collar that we got that does have the prongs,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to use that, but again, they're strong. Both of these dogs are strong.
Right.
So we started using them specifically for walks, but it was always so difficult. It was always been so difficult. So then we kind of started using it specifically when we had to take them to the vet because they
Mm-hmm.
will see other dogs and they get excited, and I needed to be able to control them because they can pull. They're very strong.
Of
And
course.
even then, it did not deter them. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It helped somewhat, but it did not deter them from pulling. We, I hate to use the choke collars, but we had to use them because my wife and I we're getting older. We're in our 50s. I'm disabled. I'm a VA veteran with who's disabled. My
Mm-hmm.
wife has a lot of health issues. As we're getting older, it's harder for us to deal with the dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and we love them to pieces. But they are strong, and they still have that puppy mentality. And one day it had rained. This happened on February 16th, where my wife was here by herself, and when she went to take the dog out, um, Layla, one of them, saw another dog, and she tugged, and my wife slipped and landed on her side. Um, and immediately she was able to call me, and basically she had to drag herself back into the house.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up taking her to the ER. She had CT scans done. She had a MRI. She ended up with what they call a bone contusion or bone
Mm-hmm.
bruise on her right knee. And because she has arthritis, it was a bad combination. After the fall, uh, I knew I had to do something. And I started to do some research. I started looking around the internet, and I did come up across BravoWalk. To
Mm-hmm.
me, it was like, okay, what makes this one
Mm-hmm.
any better than the other ones? And I had to do some research. And when I saw the price, I'm like, you know, can I? I mean, I'm thinking to myself at this point, if I have to, I have to. But when
Right.
you think about a dog collar, you think about $200. It was a
Mm-hmm.
big decision. So,
Of course.
but I had to find out what made it different. Why
Mm-hmm.
was this one different from the other one? So I started researching it because I never liked shock collars. This
Mm-hmm.
was a decision that we did because of I cannot have my wife fall again.
Of course.
And but then I started to read, and I'm familiar with tens because my wife and I we both use tens units,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, okay, I get this, and so at that point, I'm thinking, let me read the reviews, and I read a lot of good reviews, and I was skeptical at first. I'm like, in one, in one day you could train your dog, and I'm like, well, I'm desperate. I gotta get something that has to work. So we got it. And sure enough, I followed all the instructions and set it up. And I put it on Layla, which is Layla's the one who tugged. And I'm not kidding. The first time that I said easy, because she tugged, and as soon as she heard the noise, she backed up and she looked at me like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Easy, come here." And she came to me and she looked at me like she like confused because she never
Mm-hmm.
had anything that beeped around her before. I'm like, "Easy." And then as we walked, she would walk, but quickly would forget. And as soon as she tugged, I just stood still. And I'm not going to pull her because I don't want to give her,
Right.
like a signal that I'm doing this to you. So I just stayed still, and she was tugging. And when she heard it, she would get nervous again. I don't even think she got to it where it actually bust,
Mm-hmm.
gave her the stimulation, and it worked. And we went for a walk, and then the next day I did it again, and I took some treats with me, and it's wonderful. So I used the same collar to train her sister, and it works. Before I even put it on, I just give it one squeeze, and when she hears the noise, she knows already, and I don't have a problem with her. Just that noise. She recognizes the device.
Mm-hmm.
She recognizes the sound, and all I have to do is put it on her, and she already understands. The moment she sees it, she already knows, and she's like, "Okay, here we go." So as soon as I put it on and I open the door, she walks like a lady, because I want her to associate that if you hear that noise, you're pulling too hard, and you need to
Mm-hmm.
come back to me. And
That's
and she's
exactly
been
right.
doing that, and I
That's
can take her
great.
for a walk without her even activating the entire device. I could actually enjoy walking them. So it's been a big plus, but more importantly, for safety reasons, for my wife who has fibromyalgia, and she has it's not rheumatoid arthritis,
Mhm.
osteoarthritis in her knee, and she's bone on both her knees,
Right.
and then the right one is the one that's injured. So for safety reasons, we actually rely on BravoWalk.
Mhm.
It has helped us.